Hey guys, what's going on? My name's XCaliber, and today we are here in the designer spotlight with Semp. What's going on, Semp?
What's going on? Hey everybody, how you doing?
So we're here with, we've done 2 episodes of this. Well, I guess technically three, but two real designer spotlight episodes. First with Tactician, then we did Bullet Magnet, and now we are here with Semp. And what we're doing is we're trying to learn how different designers within the community get to where they are now with building things for the workshop on a certain level of quality and design and creativity and style. So I mean, this is mainly for it's really for everybody, especially for new builders, ones that go, how are they building these amazing things? I don't get it. I could never get there, and so it's good to kind of go back and look at kind of where they started, and how they progressed in building and then got to where they are. So yeah, without further ado, I think let's check out some of your earlier work. Now, I know you had said that you don't really keep a lot of your old blueprints. You kind of like build over them and update them as you go.
Yeah, I do. I usually keep a separate blueprint folder on my desktop where I had older stuff, but my previous computer unfortunately crashed, and I lost all that, so I no longer have it. But this is still a pretty decent progression. The Vagabond, which is the first ship here, that's that one is an absolute first one, and you can probably tell where the inspiration came from. I'm pretty sure you can figure it out.
Mm,
There have been some changes and such, but this was actually one of Jay Randall's Mercs, the SV, and I liked it so much that I wanted to make a CV version, which I did, but I wanted to make my own little twist on it. So this is actually
oh, the MX-15.
a,
Yeah.
yep, it's the MX-15, but different. And then I put my little patented bucket things in the top after a while because that was part of the redesign when all the new stuff came in. But that's where that came from. Because at first I didn't build my own stuff. I would use other people's things. Yours, Jeff's, Saffragin's. I used to use a lot of people's builds, and these are all people that inspired me to build. So I would take them and I would try to make them as much of my own as possible, but keeping the nuances of the original builder as much as I could. And then that wound up leading into me building my own stuff. So I wasn't always using everybody else's things because I got comfortable enough that I felt that I would be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's how I mean, that's how I started. I think that's how a lot of people kind of start, and I think that's the real value in the workshop is it gives people blueprints figuratively and literally, to kind of start building for themselves, because you could take designs that look really cool and then you could just tear them apart and figure out how that's done, and you get an idea as to what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, I've backwards engineering definitely. I did that with so many people's builds because that's how you.
I don't think you've updated this.
Uh, a little bit. It
Yeah.
hasn't been brought all the way up to 10, but this was, I believe, updated for 9. I know
No.
um it's got the your little trigger section over.
Yeah, that's like Alpha 5 there, buddy. Might need to fix that.
But it does have the extensions in it. It is using the extension, so it's at least 9 or later.
Yeah. All right. Well, ignoring that. What we got here?
Just so everybody watching knows, I swapped that out real quick right before the stream started. Just
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so this is cool. This is like a little micro, maybe cargo SV dock here on the port fantail here.
yeah, port and starboard both.
Nice.
Nice open hanger. I like open hangers. I
Mm-hmm.
prefer open hangers if I can get away with it.
Yeah. A little interesting design there with the exposed fuel. Very
Yeah,
cool.
there's actually a funny story about that too. That was I normally don't leave my fuel tanks open to where they're manually accessible. But I ran into a problem one time. I got stranded and I was trying to get the fuel out of it. This is before we were able to access the fuel tanks via the menu.
Mm.
And I redesigned this ship on purpose because this is the one that I always used to be able to manually extract fuel because there was no logistics then. So I was able to siphon the fuel off the ship.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I like the feel of manual. You know, even if it's, you know, obviously it's going further and further away from that, but yeah, it's still kind of a nice touch to be able to do that. All right, so these are service elevators to go. Okay, this goes up to. What would you describe as this area? Just kind of a leading deck to go into the go forward.
Yes. Also, in the original design, down in here, there was other components, but this was an area where I could easily remove stuff, add stuff, and obviously because I've updated everything and I don't have the older build, this is one of the latest versions, so everything's been added or expanded. Like I needed more oxygen, I added it here. It used to not be here. This was open at first. Obviously, here you can see the Wi-Fi that wasn't there. It was added. There was another piece of pipe in there. I took that out, added the Wi-Fi. This was meant to be an expansion area, and it's been used up. And I'm really sorry I don't have the previous build.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't do that. That would kill me if I got rid of my old blueprints. Like I got them backed up in like
Yeah.
2 different places. I got a manual one and I got a cloud backup just in case. Cause, oh gosh, it's just a nice thing to refer to, you know, like your past stuff.
It really is. It really is. And it was horrid when that computer went down and I lost it all. I lost
Yeah.
that and all my stuff for Farming Simulator. All of that stuff was.
Wow. All right, so we come back here and we got a pretty big galley here. Nest decks.
Yeah, and I've gone away from it now, but I used to separate like this side. The green was for food, and the red one was for your medical stuff. I've gone away from it now because I don't do it as often as I used to, but I used to always separate it and color code it as such.
Yeah, I mean you could label things now, right? So I mean that's a lot of things where the logistics is kind of taken over for what we've compromised to make things organizational. So
Exactly.
I am conflicted about that because I do like the role play aspect, not necessarily color coding. It'd be cool if there was different types of refrigerators that maybe made. I mean, and there kind of is, but you know what I mean? Like maybe the scientific fridges, but they're not as big. So you know what I mean? It'd be nice if they kind of brought those in. But then I guess the third fridge does kind of look like something that would be in a lab, like that weird open glass fridge, you know, like it has
Yeah,
samples and stuff.
it strikes me more of like a quick grab fridge, like at the front of a grocery store.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's true. Hey, Stuber, with that 8-month resub. Very nice, man. Thank you, sir. Alright, so we are gonna head down this way. So this is, what would this be? Just kind of, just hallway, just maybe extra, could be like extra grow plots, really, right? Like you got one on each side.
Yeah, growth pots or whatever you want. Yeah,
That's cool.
I actually labeled it on the workshop that there was little expansion areas because I left a lot of them on this ship. They've all since been filled in with all the updates. But yeah, this was meant for like, all right, if someone is doing a lot of stuff up here and they prefer to work on this part of the ship, then they can put maybe an armor locker or something along this wall or cargo boxes. But like I said, this was built and designed before logistics, where you would run past something and manually go to it. But there's no need for that anymore. So a lot of that stuff just went to the wayside.
Yeah. So a good thing to point out to the audience too is that you know, us both being ex-U.S. Navy, you know, we were both on ships. We both served on, you know, actual U.S. ships and stuff. So how much of that influence plays into kind of your design for these CVs? Like, do you compartmentalize things based on what you know a ship kind of needs, or do you just kind of go away from that and stick to kind of sci-fi?
It's definitely taken from military service. There's a lot of things I do that you can clearly tell, like go bags or go boxes, grab bags, anything like that. They're usually put wherever you would spend the most. Well, they're put wherever I would spend the most time on a ship. It's not. I don't know how everybody else would do it, but like here, you can see med bay, and you have armor lockers, and then ammo storage was up here, all your showers and whatnot. So this is what you would actually find on a ship. You know what I mean? You'd have
Right.
they're small. They're much bigger on ships. Well, bigger being a relative term. We know that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true though. Like you always had redundancy throughout a ship from forward to back. I mean, you always had, you had your fire teams, and then there was always fire stations. As you went along, for different response areas and stuff. And you had sealed, levels and stuff that you could seal whole parts of the ship in case there was a fire or whatever. So, and then you also had, God, you had piping everywhere for like JP5 and fuel going, from front to back and stuff. So
You
it
got
is,
fresh water, salt water, all over the place.
yeah. So it is cool when like you can see kind of all that stuff kind of working within a ship, and it's always really cool to see that. Which is kind of what we're seeing here. Like you see the oxygen tanks, you see, kind of the different things. They're exposed, and you can see them. So it just kind of gives you a feel as like, okay, this is a moving machine. This is something that's working right now. And it kind of gives you a little literal immersion kind of into what's going on here.
Yep, the fuel tanks in the back here as well.
Yeah.
And the deck plating in the floor that you could see through. This actually, the ship was inspired by Jay Randall, but this type of flooring here over stuff was actually inspired by Bone Dog, because of the way he usually does his engine rooms. Like walking along the plating and stuff where you can see down into
Oh,
it. This
yeah.
was the reason why it's this plating is because of Bone.
Oh, that's cool. Shout out to Bone Dog.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Bone Dog's in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Bone?
All right, so you got kind of your quick reaction stuff here for med and stuff. Infirmary kind of set up with the showers and everything. Decon stations. So we come in over to here, and you've got the ammo.
Yeah, see, this is where you get what happens when you take an older ship and you try to update it without just rebuilding it, because it used to be just an ammo box in the corner, so these two in the front wouldn't have been here, and there were other things in this room. I don't remember what was here, but they were taken out so I can make these bigger, and they weren't even textured yet.
Yeah.
You can see, because there weren't textures yet when this was redone. So
yeah. All right, we go up one deck here. And we've got another med station, O2 station, food processor. So kind of
this leads to the outside. Yep, this leads to the outside flight deck. So you have your quick grab when you come inside when you land.
Nice.
And these pipes used to actually have, instead of being pipes, they were cargo box.
Oh, okay. All right, so where's the bridge and stuff?
Okay, the bridge is all the way downstairs. Go back into the hangar. And the bridge is straight through.
Gotcha. Okay, here we go. So we got the construction area here. 240K on this side. Well, that's the centerpiece, right? 240K.
Yep.
Okay, cool. 4 constructors. Cargo. You've got a 96,000 here, probably for like an output.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. All right, then we come up here and we've got the bridge. Oh, I like that little. That's cool.
Yeah, I wanted a chair to go in there, but I couldn't pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah, nice use of the glass. That looks cool. Double pane glass here. Dr. Dirty Mr. Clean. Dr. Dirty Mr. Clean. Thanks for that follow, man. Very cool. Yeah, very nice, man. Got your camo there. You had to put the camo in there.
Yeah, it's a habit. Unfortunately for you.
well, we need digital camo if anything. At least represent Navy, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is supposed to be, I guess, a worn look to it, but
Yeah.
I tried to make it look like camo. It doesn't, but eventually they'll.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, so this is your represent. I mean, it is updated, of course. So I mean, this isn't the original first CV, but this is more or less when you started to break away from using other people's stuff and kind of building your own stuff. So this was a direct inspiration from the MX-15 J. Randall SV. Now,
Yep, direct inspiration that I tweaked a little bit to be my own. But this was still when I was, taking hull designs and reshaping them. I still wasn't laid out myself.
right. So take us over to this little SV that you spawned in here.
The Diaraptor. This is a little workhorse. This actually spawned an entire line of ships. There's like 9 of them, I think. I got a little carried away. And this was a prefab that looked nothing like this, became this. And I took a prefab. I don't even remember which one it is. I don't even think it's in the game anymore. And I reshaped it and redesigned it so many times, it just became this. This actually took me a very long time for such a small ship, because I was working on body shaping and stuff like that. And this really took me a lot. This took me longer than the CVs did because of shaping and such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you look at like the rear kind of thruster modules here. It's really good stuff. It's really interesting with the curves and stuff. They look like, it actually looks like, when I first glanced at from the front, I thought those were bigger thrusters, and then I come back and it's just the mediums. But it actually looked like you had used like the bigger thruster there. So it's kind of cool that you were able to make it look like that.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it rather cheap. This is usually the first SVI spawn in a survival game. It's level 10, I believe. So it's nice and cheap. This doesn't have a shield generator in it. The next version up from this does. It's still a Diaraptor, but it's got a shield instead. And I actually got rid of a few of the internal components to make that fit. So it became more of less of a survival SV and more of a, let's go and hit a POI that doesn't have, heavy guns on it, like like an armory or an O2 station, stuff like that. This is able to handle with no problems.
Nice. Yeah, very cool. So I mean, you would say this is probably what, like your first SV, but this has also been updated, or is this the original? Or
this is the A9 one. The original was lost. The other ones are better. I've improved the thrust on some of the newer ones. This one doesn't have a shield. It's got very little cargo space.
Yeah. Now this brings up a good question, like, because you've done a lot of Mark IIs per se, stuff like that, Mark III, Mark VIII apparently. So do you find that to be more satisfying than whole new designs, like when you're building?
I'm on the fence with that, because sometimes I like a new design better, but there's certain things as a builder that I just like. And this was one of those things that just stuck with me. Like I would build this and I'm like, all right, how can I make this better? And then I would make it a little bit bigger, so it held a little more in it. I was able to cram more in it. But then, like for CVs, I would say no, but for SVs, I would say yes.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, and I did a lot of Mark IIs and Alpha 10, and I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. It's almost more satisfying because not only do you get to solve the issues with the new stuff, and you get to see what you've already built kind of shine a little brighter because it's newer and it's got the newer, fancier stuff, but you also kind of get to relive your own progression, and you don't really notice it until you start to do Mark twos, and you go and you take a build and you go, oh wow, that looks terrible, and then like you fix the shaping on it and you're like, yeah, oh, this is looking better. And then, and it's almost like you're kind of reliving your previous kind of build all over again, but you're making it better with the skills that you've obtained since then. So I enjoy it. I really like doing it.
Yeah, I do. I really do for SVs. SVs, it's easier for me with SVs because SVs and HVs, I struggle quite a bit with what to put in and how much of what to put in. CVs, you have a bigger canvas, so it's a little easier. But for something this small, I'm still struggling. 4,000 some odd hours later, SVs and HVs, I still struggle with what to put in and how much cargo space and how much thrust and stuff like that. So I'm always building, different versions of the same thing over and over until I get at least close to being happy with it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so if we go over to the middle one here, this is the what's the ship? The Expedition.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite ships that I've ever built. This was a hull that started from a core, and I built out from it. This was built to directly to my place. I like to go to moons, specifically ice moons, and I like to do a lot of mining. I like to mine stuff out so the depletion meteors fall. I do that a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I wanted something that I could get in and out of it easily without having to turn around and just come in here and be able to drop everything off, process it, go back out, find the next one, and what have you. So this is the one that I built for that purpose. It's got basic defense. It's not meant to be taken into direct combat, which is why it's got the landing pad on top for an SV that could easily fill that role. Or you can even fit a tank in here if you needed to. But this is pretty much what I like to do all day long. It's just farm stuff. So this was built specifically for that purpose.
Nice. Yeah, I mean it's definitely very streamlined. It's very compact, but it definitely looks like it can take on multiple roles. Looks like you've got the are these drill lasers in the front, or are those plasma?
Nope, they're drills.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you got the drills in the front here, so you can mine with the asteroids, and I really love this like pass through hangar. I mean, it's just super versatile. And it's really it just really shows it's this is about function. This is about doing the task that you need to do. To me, that's what a CV role is in this game. Of course, I'd like to see CVs take on more of a role than they do, but for now, I mean, for function, CVs, the function are what the constructors, the cargo capability, and the spawn point and growing plants. That's to me, those are really the only reasons to kind of have a CV. Of course, long warp and stuff, but you know what I mean. As far as function, like that's kind of like they're just moving bases basically. So you have something like this where you're producing and you're storing and stuff. I mean, this just makes it super easy. And it still looks cool. It looks like it's got RP value to it. It looks really nice. It has some worn areas to it and some transitions and in looks and everything. We've got what 64. You got a lot of cargo systems here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 8 64K cargo systems.
I think the ones on the other side might be a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one's 120.
Nice. 6. So roughly
one of them should be ore and wood. Yeah.
Nice. So basically 1060 or so. So 10 times 600,000 cargo roughly. Very nice. That's plenty, right? And then you've got plenty of room for some big HVs in here. I mean, you could fit just about any HV in there. Or
I
SV.
have my typical pink warp drive because my daughter said so, and my typical orange generator because my son said.
Nice. That's cool.
So all my ships are colored that way because of them.
That's cool. What we have here? Oxygen, armor, repair, grav, repair, console, repair base. I mean, everything's really here, right? All the construction and stuff. So
Yeah, it's right inside the hangar. I mean, obviously, this is if you take this into combat. I mean, you have the warp drive right here. You have your Jenny right here. You're dead. So you got to be careful with it. But like I said, I built it to my playstyle, so I know what this ship is going to handle and what's going to slaughter me. So I usually park off a little bit, land, do like a recon with an SV that's docked on top, or even a small little HV. I do a recon first. If there's anything in the area that might jeopardize this vessel, I take it out with those, and then I can move her closer to start stripping and doing stuff like that.
yeah, totally. I like what you did with the med bay over here. That's cool. Yeah, so up here is really, I mean, obviously you don't have to be up here ever. So I appreciate that too, because you do give RP, you do give the look and everything. It's here if you want to do that, but if not, it's not in your way. It's you know what I mean? Like, this is a lot of space and everything. And even if somebody wanted to, they can get rid of all this RP and add more cargo or add more whatever they wanted, right? So
Exactly.
I like that. I like that because it really gives expandability options for the user to grab this and do what they want.
Yep. And once again, the same thing as you pointed out on the other vessel. Here's the oxygen tanks behind the glass.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so it feels like a ship. You're not mistaken that you're in a ship, but it also it has some of those cool RP elements. Very nice, man. Then you got the grow plots on both sides. So that's plenty of grow plots for a couple people to survive on. Probably 2 people or so, but more or less, you're probably soloing with this, right? I mean, this is a pretty streamlined solo CV.
Yeah, it's actually worked with 2 people. Myself and my buddy Endo have worked with this ship on many occasions. It works. It works for 2 people. Any more than that, it starts getting crowded and people start stumbling over each other and whatnot. But yeah, 2 people is comfortable here. Anything more than that, I don't recommend.
Yeah, it's a good looking ship all around. I mean, you got the whole spoiler going on in the back. That's cool. It's got a nice shape to the back, but the whole thing's got a really nice shape to it. It's just the slick looking CV for real. I like the legs on it, the kind of the side deals with the thrusters, and yeah, that
Yeah,
is
this has always been one of my favorite ships. And you also have the quick grab up here too for the SV. There's cargo boxes under there. I mean, I wish it would have been more, but I mean, for the basic needs of an SV, you don't really need a ton of cargo space for it. So 16Ks, are they're enough for your oxygen, a quick refuel, touch and go.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this class of CV, which of course, I'm sure this will all change in a week or two, but for this type, this what we would call, I guess, an unlock level 10 CV. Now, of course, it does have unlock 25 components on it, but essentially, you could take those off, and this could be an unlock 10 very easily.
Yeah, and then just upgrade as you go.
Yeah, for when I look at designers and I look at them releasing their 10, I mean, to me, that's where you get the most character. Because to me, it's harder to build a CV of this size than it is to build like a bigger one, right? Like, don't get me wrong, it takes a lot longer to build a big CV, and it's a huge undertaking. And it's something I don't do, so I respect people that do it. But it, in the way that you're able to put all of the function of a CV within something this small and still make it workable, still make it fun to use and streamline, and all that stuff, is it really shows the ability of the designer. And you could take that all the way across the table from any designer you could think of on the workshop, and you look at their 10, and it really shows their ability to kind of design for playability and function and stuff. So this definitely fits the mold. Really good, man. All right, so we head over to this guy over here. What is this? The fancy wings.
This was built specifically with RP value in mind. It was designed for that purpose and that purpose only for the most part. It can function outside of it, obviously, but this was definitely built with RP. You'll see once you get inside the hangar.
Yeah, so definitely a very different shape, very different look to what you've done with the prior two there.
It is, but if you look at the way the hangars are designed on the left and right, it's got Direwolf written all over it. That little SV.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you did some good stuff with the ceilings here. So, as far as progression, is this one of your later builds?
Yes, this is one of the latest. Matter of fact, this is one of the latest before I started doing revamps too.
Wow, explain what's going on here in the center.
All right, so in the center, you have your sensor probes. I use these to try to represent sensor probes because it's the only thing I could think of at the time to do that. I'm pretty sure there's other things I could have used, but these kind of looked like they fit the sensor probe look
What
to
is
me.
this?
So,
Is this the deco
so
blocks with the
yeah,
half
it's
deco
just
blocks?
both. It's just two of them put together to make them look like a whole piece.
I didn't know what it, dude. I'm looking at it and I'm looking at these like little things on that. I'm like, what the hell block is this? Like, what did he? First, I'm thinking they were just blocks. Then I'm going, well, that doesn't make sense because this shape's different. I'm like, well, what the hell is this? Like, there's a new block in the. That's clever, man. Good stuff. I guess I just haven't looked at that deco block enough to know that there was these little kind of pointy things in the end. That's cool.
Yeah, so basically you would send these out and it would, give you readings back, like if you're probing an area. Because I've always thought that this game needed some kind of way to find stuff in space a lot better than what we have. Because on the surface of a planet, you've got your detectors, you've got sensors, you got all those things to find stuff, POIs and, deposits and such, but you don't have anything like that in space. So you can feasibly fly around for hours trying to find that needle in a haystack asteroid that you're looking for. So with this ship, since on a single player game and any servers that I've played on, I've had admin. So with this ship on station, we would just, pretend that a probe was launched, and then we'd wait a certain amount of time or whatever while doing other things, and I would just use the map command. And then the map command would be these probes finding the stuff that the map command brought up.
Right, right. Wow. So, and that's an interesting thought because you look at other games like I guess this would remind me like No Man's Sky, right? Where you're flying and then you can send out a not necessarily a beacon per se, but you could send out something to then tell you what all the information of that planet is and stuff like kind of scan the planet. So it would be cool, yeah, if you had something like that in the game to where you can like forward scan stuff.
Yeah, I think it's needed. I really do. I honestly do. Every ship should have some kind of, especially a CV. It should have some kind of way to scan whatever sector it's in. I don't see having the type of technology to warp somewhere and stuff like that, but not being able to scan a system.
Well, and that's it, right? Like SVs, HVs, they have detectors, but a CV doesn't have a detector. So I don't necessarily want a detector. I want something kind of a half manual process to where you get a little more immersion out of it. But I kind of feel that way with all of them. Like I wish there was a way to maybe at a cost extend your scan capabilities or something to that effect. Like maybe a CV can scan an entire planet, but it would take maybe some time and you might be vulnerable or something when that's happening. So something to that effect, where it takes an obscene amount of power to maybe perform that scan.
Yeah, something like that would be cool. Because all right, you're on station and you have to be, you have to move in certain sectors and do like a sweep. You know what I mean? So you can
Yeah,
get certain things scanned out and whatnot. I think that would be really.
yeah. But actually having like AI probes would be freaking cool too. Yeah, good stuff, man. All right, so I mean, we got a big old freaking bay here. I mean, we've got, you could fit just about anything in these two bays on here, and then you've got some kind of a smaller bays where you could probably have multiple small vessels or miners or whatever over here. And then you've got a lot of cargo over here. So we've got 40K. Yep. 3 40K systems here.
And on the opposite side.
Yeah, on the other side, okay.
Yep, the bigger ones are up top next to the constructors on either side.
And then over here, you've got some overflow boxes and armor lockers and some cool stuff here. Yeah, the new containers are just really cool. And you've got some grow plots here, some kind of half systems here. 6, 12, 18, 30,
Same thing on the other side.
36? 36, yep. So 36 grow plots.
Yep.
Alright, let's head upstairs here. So we've got medical, infirmary here. And then we've got what sends you to medical over here.
Ship's food, always.
Right on, right on. Okay, so this is kind of tiered off here. And you kind of got the glass looking over the hangar here. Let's head over to the other side. So, wildlife observation cell do not feed. Interesting.
Yeah, that switch will open the doors. I put like a little mess on the floor to make it seem like there's been creatures in.
That's
It's
funny.
yeah, it's meant to be it was supposed to be a science vessel. That's what it was built for
that's
the
clever,
RP
yeah.
purpose of a science and exploration. You know, minerals, resources, just all that kind of stuff, and to be able to just collect it and take samples, you know, so on.
Yeah, this is cool. The piping and stuff here. This looks really cool. It's here. Is this the ammo, probably? No, it's ore and wood. Okay, cool. The mining.
Yeah, the ammo was built into the sides that you were at before. They're on the sides, but they're colored to match, so they didn't stand out. They're here. Doesn't have a lot of ammo space.
Okay, cool. It being a science vessel.
Yeah, so that's I mean, it was built for that purpose, so I didn't really put a lot of ammunition in it. The guns on it, I think, are 30 mil, which is really light and easy to make. These two constructors, they were built. You only really need one. I wanted the other one to be a deconstructor, which for some reason is still not allowed on CVs, and I don't know why. But one of them would have been a deconstructor.
You know, for the past 2 weeks, I keep getting these questions that I should have asked during the Q&A. Like, that would have been a great question to ask. Like, why was that not asked? Why is there no deconstructors or furnaces on the freaking, you know? Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, it takes up the same exact amount of space, and it's just doing the exact opposite of what the constructor's doing. So I don't get why it doesn't. I mean, furnaces to an extent I can understand, but a deconstructor should be allowed on the CV.
God, just to make a salvage CV and be, that would be, yeah, good times.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what do you have to do now? Right now, you got to go to a POI, you got to take over the POI, then you got to put down a deconstructor at the POI, and you've got to basically like implode the entire POI into itself, and then take all that and put it on your CV or whatever. It'd be nice if that process could just happen on the CV.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah. All right, so that's the mezzanine, and then let's see here. Where are we going next?
If you go all the way up.
Oh, all the way up. Thank you. There we go. Ah, lady things. This is where the magic happens.
Yep, and that was the LCD screens that were like on like wildfire on the workshop. And some of these LCD screens were actually from Salienza, who unfortunately doesn't build anymore. I really wish he did, but he's the one that got me started with LCDs. So this one was taken out of his ship. It was changed to say Sully Electronics as a nod to him.
Right on.
and then obviously the credits were given in the actual on the workshop. It's been so long, I don't remember anymore. But Sully, I remember because Sully used to help me out quite a bit. I mean, a lot. He has a lot of patience to deal with me. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came out of Prodigy, which was his SV. It was a beautiful ship too.
Nice. Cryo chamber action here.
Yep. And I think I had an LCD on the wall out here that said something about a cryo chamber too to match that. Oh, I remember. I think I did. Yep. Yeah, clone bay. Medical
Yeah.
bay, clone bay.
Yeah, you got little passenger areas up here too. That's really cool.
Yep. Your science teams, your med teams.
It's awesome, man. All right, yeah. So I guess at this point I would ask if you had any kind of embarrassing early builds, but as you said, you don't have a lot of your early stuff, and you lost a lot of it. So
I do have. I have a base. That's yeah. I have a base. I can spawn that.
all right.
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. This thing. It's been updated, but you can tell that this was a disaster. Hang on. I gotta find it. There it is. Okay. So technically, this would be the oldest build, but it is a base.
Yeah, I mean this looks really cool. That's not embarrassing at all.
Oh, it is. It was because this once they made all the changes, because this is before I started thinking about forward thinking when I build and such like that. This thing was horrible, and once again, this was not done on purpose. Here's your little trigger spot right here.
I mean, I'm starting to question myself now because like my early builds are way more embarrassing than any of yours or any of anybody's that we've done so far. So
Yeah,
either
look
you
at
guys
the
are holding
walls.
out or yeah, but
Look at the walls.
yeah,
I
you got
don't
the
like the walls. The staircases are single staircases, which makes it really
yeah,
difficult to run up. And
yeah,
when I first built this, I actually had a gravity generator in it, which made it impossible to walk up those stairs.
yeah. Yeah, no, this is cool, man. You got the big solar array up on the top here. Nothing embarrassing about this at all.
Yeah, I tried to make it look like there was stuff going up there, like a power flow. That's why I used this texture here. I had a lot of problems with structural integrity with this for a very long time. I didn't leave enough of a base on it to place it properly, so a lot of times when people subscribed to it and tried it out, it would collapse on them. I mean, over and over again, the turrets would fall off. It was bad.
Right on.
And making the entire front black and gold for a nice embarrassing moment. Every time I ran toward the base, I would have trouble finding the entrance to my own base. So that's why I call it the door gold. It used to not be gold, but I couldn't find my own door. So I made it gold.
Nice.
Here I am,
Nice. But yeah, no, not embarrassing, but nice try. So I guess so this would probably be, especially with the recent events in Empyrion and everything. Like, what's next for you? What are you excited about?
I'm looking forward to being able to legitimately build within a certain constraint. I'm really looking forward to it. I started building to CPU specs for experimental Alpha 9. And a lot of people that have gotten into conversations with me about this, some of them are in chat. I get really passionate, I guess you would put it, about it. And everyone assumes that it's because of of CPU itself, but that is not the case. The reason I get so angry about it is because CPU is actually what helped me build better. Because everybody has been building for a long time, including myself. Like when the warp drives were still donuts, we were all building since then. But you had open canvas to do whatever you want every single time. So at that point, to me, you're not being challenged. But as we stated when I first started with Vagabond, and all the people that I named, everybody, even some of your first time submissions to your challenges, I've gotten inspiration from everybody, all of them. So when they say that they can't do it right off the bat, I don't get angry because they're not building within those limits. I get angry because they're selling themselves short. And these are people that inspired me. You know what I mean? And for me, it helped me streamline my build because I had no choice but to build to a purpose. I had to think smaller. I had to pick and choose what I wanted to go in there because I was building within the constraints of CPU. So I couldn't build an everything, does everything perfectly build at that point. So it actually helped me streamline it and help me pick and choose what goes in it and build to a purpose. And a lot of people in this community, the majority of people in this community, if they start to think along those lines, their builds are going to be phenomenal. And it just angered me when they sold themselves short and gave up right off rip without even trying. And I don't think that's cool because I mean these guys are people that inspired me. Everybody, literally everybody. It doesn't matter if you've only got one thing on the workshop ever. I guarantee you there's something on that ship that gave me an idea. So maybe when they start building like this, they're gonna be like, I'm gonna do it this way. And I've been building since the beginning of Alpha 9 like this, and I guarantee you there's people out there that'll take me to school on it, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know that they can do it. So it just, it bothers me when they say they can't, when I know for a fact they can.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a complex kind of thing, right? Because and what this show's kind of showing is that everybody builds differently, and the reasons why they build differently. But yeah, I mean, there's people that build purely for looks. There's people that build, and their strengths are maybe more style and less function, or more style and less math and stuff like that. So I can see how it could be intimidating for people. And then also it's a lot of people are really attached to their workshop. They're attached to the builds that they've already done. I mean, I don't know about you, but once I build something, more or less I'm kind of done with it. And once I build something past it, I'm really done with it. Like I don't even want to look at it. You know what I mean? Like I'll spawn stuff from like a month or two ago, and I'll be like, I don't even look at it because I made mistakes. I did this and that. I don't like it. It's not this and that, and it's so for somebody like me, I love the challenge. I can't wait to build an entirely new workshop. But the fun in me, the fun for me is the building itself. It's not necessarily the end product. It's not the collection. It's not, any of that. But I can see, that I don't build
Yeah,
big stuff either. So
I get to a point where I do like to look back at things every once in a blue moon, but I'm almost the same way. There's a few ships where I'm not, because I've grown attached to them, but they're few and far between. But like to give you an example, one ship that I'm absolutely attached to is the Truman. I love that ship, and when this new patch hits, she is going to be broken forever, and except for single player, and I'm okay with that though. You know what I mean? It's progression for the game.
yeah, spawn that in if you can.
Yeah, we're gonna go farther away from those ships toward the sun, please, because there's gonna be a lot of lag.
Yeah, so give us a quick synopsis on the Truman and what it means to you. And
Yeah, this ship is me growing up. Okay, eventually it will spawn. I hope. There it is. It's coming slowly but surely. All right, here we go. Yeah, she's over here. She's about 2 clicks away from where you were.
towards the sun.
Straight toward the sun. Yeah, this is a space replica, like a spaced out version of the ship that I served on. Um, I mean, my life happened on this ship. I mean, it really did. I grew up on this ship. I turned from an absolute kid to a man on this ship. My first love I met on this ship. this ship has a lot of sentimental value, so that's why it was built. I knew she was going to be too big to be used on pretty much every server, and I didn't care because this is literally my life in pixels on in space.
Yeah, and again, I mean, us both, serving on ships, I can completely relate, and I also did meet my wife on my ship, so you know what I mean. So I see what you mean, and yeah, I mean, definitely, I started serving on my ship when I was 18, and I got out when I was 22, and my entire naval career was on one ship, and yeah, I mean, you really grow attached to it. You go all over the world in it. You see all kinds of new things you've never seen before. You meet people that are with you kind of for the rest of your life, even if you don't talk to them all the time. You know them, and you do anything for them, and because it's a really for everybody. I mean, from 18 to 22, you're doing a lot of growing up.
Oh yeah.
And when you're in this kind of stress and pressure box that is the military and whatever's going on at that time, and just all the structure and responsibility you have, it's a lot, and you really have to grow up a lot, and you gotta it's really cool. So this means a lot to me too, that somebody did this, because and I'm sure there's other maybe replicas of other naval ships and everything, but I know of the Truman and everything, and yeah, it's really cool, man. This is a huge undertaking, and
Yeah, if you
yeah,
go,
it's
I
huge, man.
worked in the engine rooms, the emergency generator rooms, and I actually put them on here. They serve no purpose in the game at all whatsoever, but it's where I worked, so I put my own versions of them in this ship. Um, they would be underneath the midships mess area.
Yeah, so port emergency generator room.
Yes, Doom Noodle. The "Don't Tread on Me" was our breakaway song when we were doing unreps. It was "Don't Tread on Me" by Metallica.
Yeah, it's where when you unwrap, when you break away from the other ship, you do a song. I remember we were in the Gulf, right? We were unrepping the USS Carl Vincent, and I how you get to request songs. I requested Outkast's "Bombs Over Baghdad," but the title of the song is B.O.B., so nobody knew it. It's the only breakaway song that got cut off like 3 minutes into it. It's hilarious.
That is funny. Yeah, unreps were something to watch too, because one little mess up and someone's losing a limb.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's intense. When you see a carrier and a fast speed supply ship going 10, 15 knots or whatever, side by side, rocking port to starboard and connected to each other, it's pretty intimidating.
Yeah, especially when the oceans get a little rougher than you expected, and the pallets going across are bobbing and weaving back and forth. You're just like, oh god, this hard hat isn't gonna help me.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's yeah, just wow. So how long did this take you to do?
To build, it took a very long time because this ship, the original version before any updates, was actually built in survival. So she started from her starboard rear thruster is where this ship started.
Wow.
And we farmed up all the materials and laid the ship block by block in survival. Many times ran out of materials, and we thought we had enough when we did not. Went and redesigned a couple of things here and there in survival. When the weights and volumes and the logistics system were put in, that was all redone in creative.
Yeah, this is, you know, one thing I'll say about this ship, right? I've seen a lot of big ships. I've seen a lot of big build ships, and um, you didn't give up. And I think that's the important thing is you didn't give up on the detail. A lot of times you'll find a room where there's just nothing in it, and it's like, all right, I was done with this. But like, you also didn't do a lot of over duplication to just fill space. Like I look at this and yeah, I see a lot of these cabinets and stuff, but that's supposed to be there. That's part of the ship. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a lot of the texturing on here was done military as well. I mean, obviously I didn't make it deck red terracotta, but it's it's military. It's redundant, and it was meant to look that way on purpose.
yeah. Wow. And then just the armament on this thing. Holy crap. It's a lot of turrets, sir. I wouldn't want to go up against this thing.
Yeah. This had nothing to do with me wanting to put a lot of turrets on it. Honestly, it was, this is my baby.
Yeah.
I don't want it to die. Let's arm it. But I did try to space them out and put, different stuff on here to showcase that they were separated, like all for different things. But yeah, I threw them on here just because this is my baby. I mean, I knew she was never gonna, go anywhere on a real, server or be used in any kind of combat like that. So I went ham with it.
You know what I would do? Just some advice. I would, yeah, I would make this a base, and I would make it like a dry dock situation.
I already did.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep.
Freaking POI.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because this would be a great POI. It'd be a great, this would be really cool. To see it kind of like a little shipyard, and then this thing's maybe some trussing, like clamp trussing or something, and just look like it's, dry dock. That would be really cool.
Yep. Bullet actually has truss work made up for this bullet magnet. He's actually got an entire thing laid out for this ship to sit on, built specifically for it. And honestly, I have no idea how he had the patience to go underwater to build all that, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, it took a long time to line it up, to get all the measurements right. Underwater, he did all of it and laid it out.
Wow. That is nuts. Yeah, I gotta say, that's a big undertaking here, and it's just, it's one of my favorite builds I've ever seen on this game. I mean, this is really impressive, dude.
Thank you. The lights on here, you see the lights, the strip of lights? Crazy Z did those lights for me with the timing and stuff, stripping up the runways.
Oh, nice.
And I figured it was going to take him like, a while. No, it was like 2 minutes later. Hey, I'm done. I'm like,
yeah.
He did all the lights on all 4 runways, and it took him like 2-3 minutes to do it all. I was like,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's something I gotta challenge myself to do, is lighting. Like, I just don't care about lighting as much as I should, and it really does set the tone of ships, especially these like CVs and stuff.
Yeah, because it didn't have them on there at first. When the survival build was built, it was just a strip going up. But yeah, him putting them up there, he's like, "Hey man, what do you think about a strip of lights going up that way?" And I was like, "I'm really bad with stuff like that," and he offered to do it for me. And I'm really glad he did, because it does add a lot to it. It really does. I like the way it looks. It adds a little more flair to it, and it looks like a space runway. It's really cool. I'm very, very thankful for him for doing that for me.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're all kind of obviously sitting around waiting for this experimental to pop, and because really this experimental is crucial for building. I mean, I don't know if anybody's building right now other than maybe like the replica challenge. That's all I'm building right now, because I'm just waiting. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but boy, once we know these numbers and structure and what we can do, like I'm man, Dude, it's gonna be insane. I think people are gonna be building like crazy. I'm sure you guys could already imagine what the following designers challenges are gonna consist of, and it's gonna be really cool. And I'm pretty excited. And I think that I think as a whole, I think our community, especially the Anvil, it's like, we've gotten to really be a part of the process here with the Q&A, with all the feedback that we're giving the developers that they're really listening to and they're taking into account. So that's really satisfying. I'm really proud of what we've kind of built here as a community.
I'm absolutely looking forward to it. I want to build. I'm like twitching just thinking about trying to build something. But like right now, it's just going through the motions, So I don't want to build and then have to rebuild it again later. I mean, obviously, I'm going to try to redo as much of my workshop as possible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to building again. I miss it. I miss it a lot.
Oh, neat.